what is the course of action now that Shedeur Sanders has a day-to-day oblique injury, which, I mean, day-to-day can mean a lot of things for a lot of different people. We'll find out more coming up at 9:30. Hopefully, Kevin Stefanski, his live press conference, day 2 at joint practices with the Philadelphia Eagles. I will say the D-line looked good yesterday. They did say the D-line was good. Secondary, yeah. Our offense, but the D-line, all right.
Yeah, I was interested to see that, especially because the Eagles were going to be
piece by piece, man.
I think the Eagles were missing 2 of their starting offensive lines.
Damn
so
it. That's right. Landon Dickerson ain't there.
Well, no, but still, I think.
Well, never mind.
I think the one common thing I think we're going to be able to look back at from all the reports training camp is this D-line is legitimate. I mean, we already know that Myles Garrett is going to make any defensive line legitimate, but who are going to be his playing partners? Who's going to be with him along for the ride?
Well, I think Alex Wright's going to be on the other side, and he had a nice start to the season on Friday night, and then you got Mason Graham, who got double teamed all night like last Friday.
Yeah,
but I don't know if you're going to face a ton of double teams with Myles Garrett over there, and if you do, well, Myles Garrett's going to have a very, very, very nice season.
I am excited about it. I mean, again, you're just having a great defensive line doesn't mean you're going to go to the playoffs or anything like that, but it is. It is if you see some of the young guys that are there and Myles, it means that that is going to be the one consistent.
I'll ask you about the QB again in just a second. I'm not trying to get you back here just for a second. You mentioned the D-line. I will tell you that for like 5 years, it did feel like, and people are going to mention Chase Young. I go, Kenny. I go, no, look at the rest of them. It was always, gosh, if they could just find a reasonable quarterback, Washington would be in a much better place because their front four was stout.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It still is. Their front four has been stout for a while. And it was just thought like, man, if they could just get it at QB, things will be good because they're good from the inside out. They're going to be good. And then they get Jaden Daniels. And we'll see what he does in year 2, but he had an outstanding rookie season. But it's like, okay, you got some semblance of what it might take to get there. So we'll see. I'm grasping at straws, obviously, when I'm just talking about, hey, the D-line's okay, but everything else, that's going to be a giant question mark. Wide receivers were absolutely atrocious yesterday in practice, and nobody has denied any of that. We'll talk to Mary Kay about that coming up again at 8:22 this morning. But the wide receivers are absolutely atrocious, and I don't think anybody thinks anything big for the wide receivers this year. But we don't think that they're going to be that terribly competitive of a team. So let me ask you this. We went from one of the teams going, hey, could we get draft capital for one of these guys? Could somebody trade for Pickett, for Gabriel? Somebody threw an idea out for Sanders we'll get to coming up here in a bit. My God. But we went from that to now like, hey, are we looking at other rosters now all of a sudden? Because it's like you can't lose Joe. You really can't lose Joe. So I know probably you want to play him a little bit against the Rams, but I don't know if you want to risk it. Guys are getting hurt in practice, for crying out loud. You don't want to lose Joe right before the season. Is this somewhere like, depending on the severity of this, you kind of go and you look at any other roster? I don't have names for you. I'm just asking, do we even start the process?
Here is the issue that regardless of whether you think the Browns have been fair and their process has made sense, obviously I was not one of them, but even if you thought they were really smart, or flip side of that, even if you thought they're the biggest idiots in all of football on how they put together this quarterback room, the reality is that the injuries have made this almost impossible. And so it doesn't matter, smart, dumb, whatever. This is the part where they've had bad luck.
Yeah.
And the bad luck here has derailed all of their plans. Remember, they kept saying, 4 weeks ago, all right, we've analyzed the league. We've looked at other teams. We've looked at other situations. We've talked to everybody we can talk to try to formulate the best plan of attack when it comes to these 4 quarterbacks in camp. Throw that out the window. Crinkle it up and throw it out the window. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter all their best practices and all their best ideas. Their most optimistic way this could go.
Everything goes perfectly.
Yeah,
for them.
well, it went the opposite. I mean, the fact that you've had 3 of your 4 quarterbacks that are all competing for whether it's the backup or the starter, now you haven't been able to really process much of that at all.
So, Ken, are you saying we need to bring in a 6th quarterback?
I'm asking.
Plus, we've got another guy that,
he's not going to be active to start. Well, we'll talk about who coming up. Trust me.
I know he's not active, so yeah.
I know you guys don't want to have that conversation,
So we'll
guys.
have a seventh potential arm in.
I don't want to trade any resources for one, but is there anybody out there that you can think of?
Well, if you don't trade any resources, then you already got Tyler Huntley. What's the next?
Well, Tyler Huntley can't play a full preseason game.
That's all I'm saying. If you're not going to trade resources, what's the point?
Well, I figured this Saturday is going to be.
I got to go to RotoWire.
Well, I figured this Saturday is going to be Dylan Gabriel and Tyler Huntley. Is that not?
Be. Well, Dylan Gabriel does. Do we know how much he's going to play if he's going to play at all? I mean,
think about it. If you're
they put him out in front of the media yesterday, and I don't think they'd do that if he was still.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought.
So Dylan's going to start the game.
And imagine if you're him. Not that you'd ever want to jeopardize your career going out in a game where you're not close to healthy, or I don't know how healthy he is. But imagine if you're Dylan Gabriel right now, you've been a total afterthought, and part of it has been an injury. But when you've been out there, you have looked dreadful. And normally it's as a rookie that's drafted in the third round, normally it's all right. I have some leeway here. I have some time to kind of get up to speed on everything. He's been able to do none of that.
I got this clip from Stefanski. It's a quick answer, but he was asked if Dylan Gabriel is healthy, would he start on Saturday?
Yeah, potentially. Again, the plan was always to give both of those guys a start in the preseason, so we'll see how it shakes out.
Okay, we got that going for us. So hopefully, can he play?
He was healthy yesterday.
Can he play as much?
He was as healthy as he could be yesterday.
Can he play as much as Shedeur did on Friday?
Have to. I think that's part of healthy. I think you're not saying he's healthy for a series. He's either healthy and he's playing a half or he's not.
Somebody has already looked up free agent quarterbacks on this computer, so I know I'm not the first one to do this right now. I mean, you're looking at the bottom of the barrel, but you already would think you have the bottom of the barrel. So hopefully you're able to get – I just don't want Dylan Gabriel to get hurt too. Because then there's a question of, okay, is he even durable enough to play in the
games?
Owen, you got to play him for some, and somebody's going to have to play. So this is going to be a tremendous moment for
every time you go to practice, you potentially could be hurt. Why even do football if we don't want guys to get hurt?
We're all asking questions. We don't have any answers. What the hell do you want the Browns to do? What do you want them to do, Anthony?
Well, like I said, I think this game's going to be Dylan Gabriel and it's going to be Tyler Huntley. I would like to start Dylan Gabriel because, come on, let's see. We've seen all the college
one
games.
Way to know.
And by the way, Dylan has been a gamer in college football. I know it's totally a different setting, and his team was loaded and all of that. But I've seen him have no problem going up against Ohio State. I mean, he beat Ohio State in a game. We also saw what happened in the playoff, which I was happy to see. But we've seen him in some massive games in college football for, seems like 6 years. So I feel like that guy is a gamer, and I want to see it. Enough.
Carson Wentz is a free agent.
Enough about his terrible numbers in the preseason or in training camp or in practices or in OTAs or rookie mini camp. Let's see him against a real team, even though it's not going to be starters or anything like that.
Help.
But let's at least see that there is some talent in there.
Well, I got to get through a joint practice again today. Philadelphia's a bunch of Giants, and I got Russ Tucker saying how small he looks while he's out there on the field with everybody. So again, now I'm worried about even making it through today's. First, it's time for a camp report.
Training camp coverage powered by Classic Ford and Classic Chevy in Mentor.
Oh, yeah. Well, not because Shedeur Sanders got hurt yesterday. And the question is, it's not even a question like what the Browns do. I mean, you got several things. But for Shedeur, and we shared this in the very open of the show. You can go back and listen to it, 923thefan.com, and on the free Odyssey app with the rewind function. You can also go ahead and leave a coming in hotline message if you want to. It's that microphone that's right next to Listen Live button on your free Odyssey app. When you highlight 923thefan.com, 923 The Fan, and your favorite 923 The Fan, you can go ahead and leave that. Keep it within 30 seconds and use the coming in hotline if you wish, if you will. But depending on the severity of this injury, this is awful for Shedeur Sanders. And I'll tell you why. In our depth chart, Anthony and I's depth chart, Shedeur's number 2. After Joe Flacco's done, to me, it's like, hey, put him out there. Let's see what he's got. Which, boy, you don't talk about fifth-round picks like that. That's why I'm about to get to this here in just a moment. But in the Browns depth chart, clearly, and I know that the unofficial depth charts, whatever, you guys, I mean, we know. It's Joe Flacco, probably Kenny Pickett, probably Dillon Gabriel, maybe you flip one or two. I can't believe that. And then you have Shedeur Sanders. And Shedeur goes out there, he plays well. Kevin had planned on starting him on Saturday. Now I can't imagine he's going to play on Saturday. We'll find out more from Kevin coming up at 9:30. If he doesn't play on Saturday, if this is a lingering issue whatsoever, then you get ready for the Rams next week. They're going to ramp up like that to the game, and then you're going with the season. And so you're already had limited reps, if any, to start training camp, and now there's none. This could be so bad. He'll make the team. I think he'll make the team, but this is so bad for his chances of playing earlier, chances to show his stuff. For the Shedeur fans, this is really, really, really bad news if he's injured to any level where it's like, hey, man, you're going to have to miss a lot of days here to get this thing back. This is really tough after what I thought was a really nice performance on Friday.
Well, and regardless of how all the fans,
we all thought was a nice performance,
who are getting all the reports on how bad Dillon Gabriel's been or how good Shedeur has gotten, what happens now? From here on out, when the goal isn't to sort out the depth chart for everybody, the goal is to get probably Joe Flacco ready for Cincinnati week 1. And then every week after that, how does the coaching staff, how do they evaluate the difference between Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel, one who was drafted in the 3rd round, one who was drafted in the 5th round?
What's going to evaluate it just like that?
What's going to matter at this point?
Honestly, if
it's going to be a half of preseason football.
What got Dillon Gabriel drafted? You want to know what it is? What got Dillon Gabriel drafted? Wasn't his size. What got him? Say it out loud. This is a radio show, for Christ's sake.
No, I don't know because I didn't want him drafted.
Okay.
And I've questioned that draft pick. Right, so don't ask me. Ask the Browns.
It wasn't a rhetorical question. Owen got it right. It's for his his knowledge of the game because he's played in three different programs over 6 years. So guess who's going to get the nod before Shedeur Sanders? It's going to be Dillon Gabriel. Because, okay, we have to think less. Shedeur's coming from a different offense. Shedeur, I was getting texts on Friday. This is what bothered me the most. I did have some. Jordan Schultz is getting insiders texting him going, man, this is really shocking. This is really nice. And then I still got people go, Kenny, you need to calm down. My people are sitting there. You need to calm down. They're taking away a lot. I go, or do we expect there to be 30 pages of offensive plays for him in this setting? They can work together. It made me feel better about Kevin. So now these quote unquote mental reps will have to be taken advantage. But if you're Kevin, you're thinking, I got to go out in there and I got to try to win a football game. So you're going to go with the guy, unless he is just putrid on Saturday and in preseason game number 3, and he's been putrid apparently to people throughout practice, then you may think differently there. But you're going to go with knowledge of the game, knowledge of the offense. You're going to go with the guy you trust to help you move your offense along. And he physically may not be able to do it, but the guy who's going to end up getting the nod, if neither can really give you a whole bunch in the preseason, it's going to be Dillon Gabriel. So the whole thought of me thinking, man, you could maybe rob this whole situation out and be able to save us from this dire spot that is a guaranteed contract to a guy that nobody wants to talk about or see, God, is Shedeur Sanders. Now you're going to have to wait even longer. This is terrible. For anybody who's a dreamer, this is awful for this franchise.
You know, I
Awful.
remember Brady Quinn talks so much about his very, very rough process of getting into camp and everything that happened with him and how it kind of derailed, potentially his career. And he's been very, very honest about, mistakes that were made and everything. You wonder if 10 years from now, is Shedeur going to be talking about this oblique injury? And it doesn't mean he doesn't have an opportunity to make up for it. This doesn't doom him forever. But you just wonder, sometimes it's wrong place, wrong time. And just the littlest thing, because look at all the momentum he had.
Yeah.
I mean, just making some plays in one preseason game, I don't care who it's against. Just sometimes that opens up the door. I remember Terrell Davis. Terrell Davis came into a random preseason game and got some carries and started to make a splash. And I remember, Shanahan, not Kyle, the other Shanahan, talking about Terrell Davis seizing the opportunity. And next thing you know, he's a Hall of Fame running back. Mm-hmm. So sometimes it is just making the most out of your opportunities. But when you don't get the opportunities, that can really just throw things out of whack for a football player.
Another thing that I figured out here, I think it's more proof that if you just say, man, I can't believe you guys are making a big deal about a 5th-round pick, I don't think you're paying attention to anything going on. And you could sit there and blame the media all you want. I mean, I had people I truly respect. Their first thoughts were, are they trying to protect his trade value over this? I go, really? Shedeur's just going to agree to a fake injury?
Right.
Out of this?
Yeah, that's Shedeur who's
just going to agree to a fake injury?
Who's very quiet and somebody who's very secretive.
Because, Lima, you blew my mind.
With the 10 guys that film him around every turn.
You blew my mind with what you were reading to me when I was driving yesterday, where it said the people who were freaking out before even it was announced that they had the injury, because the reports were during the joint practice with the Eagles, everybody else was getting reps and Shedeur was dressed, but he wasn't getting reps. Nobody thought for a second he might not be feeling great. It was immediately.
Also, Kenny, we had the videos that anybody covering the Browns, and I saw even Eagles reporters, they're putting any Shedeur content out they can. So before practice yesterday, or before the joint practice, while we were doing the show, I saw multiple videos of Shedeur throwing the football beforehand. So nobody really had an inkling of what was going on here. I know after the fact, people were looking at his body language and they were like, oh yeah, he wasn't smiling as much. Maybe he had known. What has the reporting been on when he knew that there was an issue?
From what I know, it was before, and he thought he might just need to stretch out, and he was kind of favoring it. And they're like, you don't need to stretch that, to come over here for a second. And then that's when it started.
Okay.
So he was like, kind of like trying to, maybe I just got a cramp or something like that, it seemed, from what I was told. And it was like, nah, there's something here. You're not able to move, and this is a little bit odd. So but to hear the
working through the college mindset, right? Because I'm sure in Colorado it was like, hey man, get your ass out there. You're the quarterback of the Buffalo.
Yeah, but think about this. I mean, you just played I know he missed a couple of throws, and people want to say, guys, you guys really throw the word great around. Nobody expected him to play that well. He played well, and you have a good outing like that. Things are going your way. Now you have this opportunity. They just said, did they or did they not say he was going to start against Philadelphia? So you have this opportunity again, not just against Carolina, because people wanted to say, well, it's the suck-ass Panthers, and you're playing against their second-teamers. Okay, well, the second team for the Philadelphia Eagles is a different animal. So if you're playing against the second-teamers for the Philadelphia Eagles, this is an opportunity for yourself. So he might have just felt it and go, no, that's not happening. No, I'm fine. It's a scratch, but a scratch. And he might have just been lying to himself, which I don't blame him. Here is your opportunity. You've been the most talked about rookie. Nobody has said anything about Cam Ward in America.
No.
And he's the number 1 overall pick. You were the most talked about rookie in the country. Good, bad, ugly, whatever it is. He knew he had an opportunity. I feel bad for him to a certain degree there, because it's not the worst injury in the world, and you might get another opportunity, but when? Depending on the severity of this, hopefully maybe next week. We'll see. And then if it's not next week.
Yeah, imagine, here's what I keep thinking. What if, I know people can laugh, people can drive around and roll their eyes. What if this is the moment where Dylan Gabriel takes off? And how are the Shedeur people who are only about Shedeur, how are they prepared to handle that?
I'm prepared to accept it. I'm prepared to be.
Me and you were trying to be fair.
Wake up with my face sewn to the carpet because everybody and their brother has said how bad Dylan Gabriel is during this training camp.
Sure, 100%. But would you be that shocked if? I mean, I saw this guy make amazing throws on the biggest stages of college football. Would you be that shocked?
I would be.
Why?
Because I just heard nothing but bad things. It's been nothing but bad. I've never heard a prospect come out in camp. And they said nicer things about Johnny. It's just they're not being mean-spirited about Dylan Gabriel. There's just nothing except for Lance Reisland. That's the only guy, and he's a football coach, so maybe I should take his word for more than some of the other ones. I would love to, but I got Ross Tucker. Ross Tucker's been a football player. Ross Tucker analyzes the game. He has the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. He's on with the guys in the afternoon yesterday. He's like, man, he looks small out there. Looks like he really can't do it. Like, this is not good. So, hey, man, I really, really hope he can do it, because if he can't do it, then what did you spend a third-round pick on this guy for? What did you do this again? I got a guy who fell into your lap in the 5th round, and he's had an unfortunate injury here, but he went out there and played like gangbusters. I don't care if it was the first preseason game. This guy, I don't know if anybody would have any faith if it was any preseason game. 216-474-0092. Yeah, there's wild conspiracy afoot.